Yeah, g'day. Today we have this sliding door and screen to do here. This is a Frontline glass sliding door and screen. We can tell these are Frontline. Well, I can tell because of the design, but on the glass it has FGW, which is Frontline Glass and Windows. These ones also have a rebate here and also a rebate on the inside as well here, so it's symmetrical, which goes into a rather complicated looking frame like this. This is where the door goes into. There's a brush seal here and here. There's also this extra strip going up here which can be problematic, especially when it comes to the lock, and they've tiled here, yes, they've got the door comes in here with a space and another space here for the fixed panel, and then you've got your space here for the fly screen door to go in. There are two different sorts of Frontline door. This particular one has a high lip on the inside here, so that means the door will not lift up and come out this way. It has a very low lip on the inside here, if you can see that. So in order to get this door here out, we have to take it out this way, which involves taking the sliding screen door out and taking the fixed panel out from behind there as well. These are one of the trickiest ones to do. If you come across one of these, you'll also need to be able to separate the frame from the glass, but I'll run you through and show you how to do that now. Right, so the first thing we need to do is get this screen door out. It's actually not sliding too badly. This one's not sliding too badly. This one's just got a dump in it. The owner wants me to fix that. So the first thing we need to do is get into the adjustment screw here at the top of the fly screen door and release this top roller so it drops down. One there, and there's also another one here. That will enable us to get enough height out of the door to get the bottom roller here up and over the track. You can either use a hand screwdriver or a drill. Number 2 Phillips. Out just like that. Alright, so that's the screen out. Now the next thing to do is get this fixed panel out. So you'll notice up the top there's a pop rivet going through the frame and into the fixed panel that holds it at the top. Sometimes at the bottom they have a little clip which clips in here, but this particular model doesn't, so you just have to be aware of that. And then on the inside of the door here, these particular doors have a screw down in here which goes into the fixed panel there, and then also up the top there's another screw just here that needs to come out, so we take those out. Sometimes they have a blob of silicone in here which can make it a little tricky to get these ones out, but we'll whip those fixings out first, and then we'll have a wee look to see if we can get that fixed panel out. Okay, now that we've got the fixed panel out, this door will now come out this way. Just like that. With these ones here, because they come out from the inside, you want to make sure you're always on the inside, lifting it out and leaning the door against your body. If you try and come out this way, you'll end up face planting the door. So just a tip to the weary. Okay, so now that we've got the door out, let's have a wee examination of the bottom of this door here. So we have the bottom sill section here on the glass door has got a lip here and also a lip here. So the roller's not going to just come straight out the bottom. The only way to get it out, well, you can try and grind some of this lip away, but the easiest way is just to separate the bottom from the glass, and that's that way we can slide the carriage out the end of this bottom sill section here. So inside here you'll see, anywho, there we go, there's a screw in there, which is accessible via the second hole here. The other thing that you have to be a little bit wary of is they have a U-shaped washer which goes over like this, so when you're separating the frame from the glass you have to make sure that slides out the bottom nice and easily. Sometimes they can get caught. So it's this is this side, and then also there is the same this side here as well. This screw and the washer goes along here, so you have to make sure that slides out the bottom correctly. So I'll just go ahead and undo those screws, and we'll drop the bottom off, and then we'll slide the rollers out the end. So you have a long screw and a short screw. The long screw goes in the back. Once you've got those two screws out, you can get your rubber mallet, and this is just a bit of jarrah, knock block, and just gently start knocking the bottom off. Making sure that little washer, hook-shaped washer, is slidden out nicely, which it has. And this one's coming through. So there we go, now we've got the bottom off. These ones will now slide out the end, hopefully. Oh, no, I need a bit of persuasion. Now with the old, these ones are not actually too bad. There might have been just a bit of guff on the roller, but that's about it. But we'll change them over anyway since we've got it this far. So now we'll just give this a clean out. So now to reinstall the new rollers, these are called a 1070. They're off the shelf at Bunnings. They have a very slight bend on the wings of the carriages there. The original ones, these are actually a 1070B, where the wings are actually bent out on a 45-degree angle. You can buy these, but they'd have to order them in especially. So the quickest and cheapest and easiest way to do these is just to bend them out manually yourself, like here. I use these. These are slip jaw pliers. Just pop it in there, bend that little wing out to about 45 degrees, and the same with this one here, so that when you put it into the bottom section here, it fits in neatly. and it doesn't wobble around. Now we have to do the same with the back. So that will prevent the carriage from sliding. So we just bend this out at about 45. But you want to do a sort of a twisting action rather than just a straight bending action, because the axle actually rides up and down on that bit there, so you kind of give it a bit of a twist rather than a bend. And fits in there rather neatly. And then we do the same with the other side, and then we'll put it back together again. Okay, so both of these rollers are in, nice and firm and no wobbling about. So now we're just going to remount this back onto the door. We just need to make sure the distance between this head and this washer is not so far out that it's going to hit the frame section here. It needs to slide neatly in between that little L-shaped bit and the side of the frame there. The top one's not so bad because you've actually got a few more millimeters between here and here. So I'm going to put this on at the bottom first, try and do this one-handed. You're better actually just lining up the bottom like this and getting that to slide in. That. Okay, so it's a little hard to see, but that washer needs to go over. It's a little tricky to do this one-handed, but there we go. So that's over there now. Make sure that's on nice and square. Before we start banging things, make sure this rubber is on the glass. If it's off, then it will create a bunch point. So just go along and make sure that's on, which it is. Now the bottom, this is what makes these Frontline ones a little bit more tricky than a normal door. I've got to make sure that that's in the right spot now. That's just got to come up a wee bit, about there, and then that should just slide on. Okay, that's all lined up. Here comes the heavy artillery, rubber mallet, and we just bash that on. Make sure that rubber seal is engaged. It has. Beautiful. Now we can put the screws back in. After we've dressed the track, we can put the door back in and just go in reverse and put that all back together again. Right, so the long screw goes in this side. Find the screw flute. Set this up so that the roller is just touching your thumb as you run it across the bottom there. Just give that track a quick file. here just a little bit, just to help it slide. You can squirt this stuff on your line tracks as well. This is called Inox MX3, very good, Australian made, Candan Industries, good stuff. The reason we lube the top is because there's a nylon slide here and another one here which slide along this flat surface, so that just needs a little drink once in a while. Again, same thing when you're putting the door back in, lean it back against your body, you've got less chance of falling over. Slide that into the groove, bring it in, gently place the door down. Now we just need to do the adjustment. The adjustment is getting the wall frame parallel to the door frame. So this one's getting stuck about there, so we just need to bring that front up a little bit. Put your screwdriver in the second hole down, you can lift these ones up and find the screw head. And once you found it, just start turning it clockwise as it will raise it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll put about 10 turns on that one. And in fact, I'll show you. So what we're looking for is to get your screwdriver in here. This will need to come up a bit so you can get the correct angle, but you turn the screw so that this bottom section here is just off the sill section. It's just not quite touching. Now when we bring the door across, we need to make sure that the gap between the door and the wall here is nice and true and parallel all the way up. As you can see, this one has a slightly wider gap at the top here, so that means the back has to come up a little bit. So we'll go to the back here, pop our screwdriver in that second hole there and turn that until it raises up a little bit. Let's say around about. They do have quite a fine thread, so sometimes you feel like you're turning, you're not getting anywhere, but you actually are. Let's rub it on the frame a bit. I'll up the front a bit more. We have a nice even gap between the door and the frame here. Gets a little bit close in the middle there, but then when it gets to the top it's out a little bit. So this wall has ever such a slight bow in it, but that's okay. The bottom and the top is even, so maybe just a millimetre or two in it. Here's the blob of silicone I was saying about. Okay, there we go, one smooth sliding door. Beautiful. Righty ho, so we've got this glass sliding door here sliding smoothly now. We've just completed that one. Oh, there's me. Hello. Now you can, we've also been asked to change these rollers out, but we don't actually just change the rollers out, we do a complete corner stake exchange. So that involves just separating this fly screen from the frame, dropping this bottom off, taking this whole entire corner stake out the end, put the new corner stake in, and put it all back together again. So I'll just see if I can quickly show you how to do that. So basically just take this bit of spline out of here, being careful not to rip the mesh. That's all you need, just a few millimeters like that. Take that spline out, lift up the mesh. I'm doing all this one-handed, so I hope it comes apart quite easily. I might flip this over actually. Just flip the door over. Now we should be able to just lightly tap that apart. Now that's come apart. The main reason we changed the entire corner stake, also inside here, this little hole here, there's an adjustment screw. Normally all the water runs down the door and fills up that hole, and that adjustment screw is normally very rusty, but you basically just got to push that up and in, either that or pull it right out the bottom, and then slide this out the end, and then put the new one in and put it all back together again. These are called 108s, 3080s, slightly different. This particular one is called a 3010, exactly the same spacings, exactly the same thickness, exactly the same screw position, exactly the same carriage position. This one just has a spring like this one has a spring like this. So we just carry the 3010s, all new screws. So just push that little roller in, slide this into the end like this, give it a wee tap until the roller comes out. I'll do the same on the other side. That spline goes in this groove here, so that needs to go that way back on again. That's basically it. They've been changed out now. Flip it over, use your spline roller and put the screen back in. Okay, that's that done. Screwdriver in here, find the screw, start tightening. You just tighten until you see this just come off the track by a few millimeters. Okay, it's got quite a fine thread. You could be here for a little while tightening. So that's just off the track there now. And then the same with the back one. Theoretically, once these have adjusted to the right height, then it should be true and parallel to the wall, but I'll bet you it's not. I might have to crank the back one up a little bit further. This wall on this particular door's got a little bit of a bow in it. Right, well that looks pretty good. It's a little bit up at the front a bit more. So once we've got this alignment correct, like that looks pretty good. Then what we do is we lock the top ones up so that they push down. It stops the door from jumping off the track. So you just tighten that up until you feel that top one go up. That's about it there. So there's no up and down movement. And this one here. That's up as far as it will go. And that's how you do a Frontline door.